Hello there, guys. Welcome back to another one. Yes, I'm dropping this video on the day Chelsea is going to be playing Leeds United in the FA Cup clash, semi-finals at Wembley, and I'm hoping, even though we've been on a very bad run of form, I'm hoping that we get the win and then we face Manchester City in the finals. Let's jump right into the video. So today's video is about Chelsea managers, or which Chelsea manager or what type of Chelsea managers should the hierarchy, Blue or whoever it is, the sporting directors, who should they go for? And my list majorly, and at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you guys like who me I prefer and according to what. Actually, I do have two. Spoiler, I do have two, but it's according to two different variables, and they are going to know the variables at the end of the video. So let's jump right into the video now. First of all, it's been like right now it's painful at Chelsea. We're 7 points away from top four. We have 5 straight losses. Right now, it's as if the team does not have any identity. But knowing that the board has already put the plug on Rosinho, they've sacked him. The question that everybody is asking is who can fix what is going on at Chelsea tactically, and also who can change the mentality that is going on at Chelsea right now. Now, I have set the list of managers that I want. Categorically, Andoni Iraola. I know that that's actually the front runner of the news that has been going on. Cesc Fàbregas, Xabi Alonso, Marco Silva, Filipe Luís, and I do not add the likes of Frank Lampard there and maybe John Terry or Unai Emery. I do not add the likes of that because I'm kind of sure Unai Emery will want to stay at Aston Villa for one more season, barring the fact that if they get Champions League or something like that. And Frank Lampard, me personally, I don't want him at Chelsea at the moment because I don't want him to come and then begin to face the nonsense of all this present hierarchy, because I know they are not going to give him what he wants, or like they are not going to allow him to express himself. I would not want him to cut short his growth, his development as a manager, as a top-notch manager, because what he has done at Coventry is absolutely nice. It's absolutely tremendous. It's absolutely beautiful. So I'm not including Frank Lampard, John Terry, Unai Emery. I'm not including those guys. Now, defensively, we are bleeding. We see on the right hand side of Malo Gusto, on the left hand side of Cucurella. Even though these guys are solid players, I believe that Malo Gusto and Cucurella are solid players, well-to-do players, players that on their day and in a very right structural team, they are going to do the best, because we've seen it with Malo Gusto at the France squad. So now, there is a deeper problem with discipline, and with all of this, we've been seeing cheap fouls, and our defense is always caught either too high. And even if we draw back, if we are playing a low block, they tend to slip off. They tend not to know how to defend. But the case of the matter is, I've actually discovered that it's not a situation of them not knowing how to defend. Of course, they are professional players. They do know how to defend. But the problem is they are always cut off, or they are always caught while they are asleep. And what is the problem of them being asleep is lack of discipline and not focus in the game, or probably not knowing when to do which in the game. Now, this will lead us to why the coach or the manager who is going to be brought in plays an huge role to what we're going to do, probably majorly defensively. Because I know our attack can pop off anytime if the manager is good, barring Liam Rosino, because I don't understand what Liam Rosino did towards his end as Chelsea's head coach. But right now, we're focused on who do we want. Andoni Iraola at first. Andoni Iraola. For me, he's the front roller, and he has already said he's going to be leaving Bournemouth this season, and he's the current leading candidate according to what we've seen on the news, a lot of them. For tactically, I kind of love him, but the problem is that you love him or you just think he's insane. Because why? I've watched Bournemouth played against I think Arsenal recently, where they won against Arsenal, and I think they also won against Man U. This guy is popping off I forgot his name. When I remember, I'll say it. So Bournemouth is popping off, and I love their hybrid high press. Now, the thing is with the hybrid high press is like this. How can I explain to you guys? But okay, there is a defense, there's a midfield, and there's the attack. Let's say in a 4-3-3 scenario. I should have brought up like a graphic or something to show you guys. But in a 4-3-3 scenario, literally, or 4-3-2-1, wherever you guys want to say, or 4-2-1-3, wherever you guys, or 4-2-3-1, wherever it's led like that. He literally plays in that kind of scenario where they always play for loose balls. And that is what, for me, that's what I understand, or that's what I'm trying to explain to you guys as an hybrid high press. The hybrid high press means a mid block, but always fighting for the what? For the loose balls. And that is one thing that Chelsea is very bad at. Fighting for loose balls, gaining control of those loose balls. That's something I want Andoni Iraola to come and imbued in the team. And then I want him to use his tactics to build around the team. And I think it's something we can do because we have Caicedo in the midfield, we have Andre Santos, we have Malugusu can go there, Rich James can also go there. We have lots of Dario Sugo, Romeo Lavia. We have these guys in the midfield that can be very good with winning the ball, second dead balls or second balls majorly. So that is one guy that is one of his tactical approach that I'm really in love with, according to Andoni Iraola, is this thing. If we imagine the intensity with what our squad can be, imagine Cole Orton in transitions, all of those mobile number 9 with Joao Pedro, and all of those systems, all of those high intense systems, which is not giving much energy or much pressure on what do you call it, on players' physical appearance or players' physical appearance or players' physical setbacks. So just coming to that alone, we understand that fullbacks are always going to fight for what? For dead balls, and then they're also going to help in little bit, aid in a little bit of transition. I hope you guys. Now, he also has a reputation of development of players, which fits like the current squads. We want to bring in players like Joshua Chimpong, Reggie Walsh, all of these guys from the academy, wanting to integrate them into the squad and then understanding how they can always develop them in case scenarios like in tough leagues like the Premier League. Well, although according to what a lot of Chelsea fans will be fighting for is, maybe he does not lack that big club experience, maybe coaching in the Champions League and all of that. But it's still one thing that we can always say, that he can come in and then coach in the Champions League because he has that nice tactical approach. He has played against top teams like Arsenal, like Man City and all of those guys. He's played against those teams, and then we've understood that he has done practically well and tactically well against them. Now, moving on to the next, Cesc Fàbregas at Como. My own is, I don't really think Cesc Fàbregas is going to come. I showed you guys the comment yesterday about what Cesc Fàbregas said. He said he's fine at Como, even what the owner of Como said concerning Cesc Fàbregas. Like if he wants to leave, he can leave. But I later on went on to say that it depends on Cesc Fàbregas, and it gave me a little bit of assurance that Cesc Fàbregas can actually leave and can also decide to stay. But the problem is, I think he would want to stay because Como will probably get Champions League and will want to coach in the Champions League. So this is why one of my criteria at the end of the video, you understand that it is if Chelsea gets the Champions League. Now, the thing with Cesc Fàbregas, or according to his tactics, is that in the 4-2-3-1, which he always do, is like, it's not tricky. He's very direct and he understands how to adjust mid-game. He knows how to do all of those mid-game tactical tweak where he then tweaks his team into a 3-4-2-1 situation or a 4-2-4 like scenario. And I've seen Arsenal do things like that and stuff like that. And actually very beautiful. One thing with me is I always want my team to have a good structure, especially while attacking and while defending, or while in the mid, while there is a tactical battle in the midfield. So I always want my team to have like that mid block kind of approach. And if there's a outbreak in the mid, then we can easily see a defensive kind of approach that is a defensive kind of holding, which I think would be helpful enough for Chelsea at this moment, because we need a nice structure to always help us understand how to move on in games. And the specific tactical thing I love about Cesc is his rotation. If the fullbacks pushes up, the pivot drops to cover. It allows overloads in the wing without exposing the centre backs. This is the ideal system for players like Cole Palmer, especially if he's a number 10 behind like a pressing striker. A pressing striker like Mark Dewey. Take note, I did not mention Liam Delap because that guy is not a pressing striker. I'm saying Mark Dewey. Mark Dewey runs and then he presses. Even though he's young, but he presses. I would want to see more of Mark Dewey actually. Probably Mark Dewey and Joao Pedro. I would want to see more of those kind of people in the team. And the only question mark here is experience. Can a manager with only a couple of seasons in Serie A command the respect of a massive dressing room? This is a question that everyone will ask, but we all know. And I'm sorry, I can say I'm kind of stupid enough to be asking a question like that, because such questions are not supposed to be asked. Cesc Fàbregas has played in Chelsea, played in Barca, played in Liverpool, Arsenal. Yes. Played in all of top teams, and he has worked under Pep, he has worked under Luis Enrique, he has worked under Antonio Conte, he has worked under top managers. If it's about controlling the dress room, and he's also a legend at Chelsea, so if it's about controlling the dress room, Cesc Fàbregas is one of the only people at the moment who can actually control that dressing room. Is one of them who can control that dressing room to the max, because you can't come and tell me players like Enzo Fernandez or players like Caicedo or players like Cole Palmer and then begin to come and speak nonsense to Cesc Fàbregas. Trust me, it's not. It's not going to be possible. Now, on to the next. Xabi Alonso and Marco Silva. Left to me, Xabi Alonso is one of the coaches that I feel that I want to actually come into Chelsea, because I've said it earlier, these are the people I see the possibility of them coming. Actually, Cesc Fàbregas apart from him, but I see Xabi Alonso also being part of that, because he's also a legend. He has also coached a club like Real Madrid. Coach like I loved what he did with Bayer Leverkusen, and then I saw that he's actually how do you call it? He's actually dynamic, because I thought maybe he was going to go into Real Madrid with what he did with what do you call it, with Bayern Munich. But sorry, I said Bayern Munich, Bayer Leverkusen. But he did not do that. He actually tried to tweak his system, tried to see how he can change, how he can involve a lot of players into this, and it was working. But the problem with Real Madrid then, and I will always keep saying it, is that their players, apart from just being egotistical, they don't have that opportunity or the ability to use their brain in tactical situations. Dead. So, Xabi Alonso and Marco Silva. Starting with Alonso, he was trying to turn Real Madrid into a possession machine with a 4-2-3-1, base that shifts into attacking 3-2-5 shapes. Same with kind of Enzo Maresca. He encourages like vertical football and constant movement, which would be perfect for Joao Pedro. Is in a game, tactical flexibility is his biggest edge. But the problem, according to this, is that he's embroiled with the Germany national team. I don't know how far it is, and that would probably have a deal with contract timing and all of these things if they want to sign Xabi Alonso. About his tactical approach from 2-3-1 to 4-2-5. About possession. Recently, I've discovered that our players seems to not want to have the ability to be able to string passes together. It's as if the rondo that they do in training session does not come and take part in what do you call it, in the real matches, in the real game, in high intensity games. I don't know why, but they used to know how to do it, but now they seem like they can't do it. So that's only one problem why I probably see maybe the possession shape might not actually work, but we'll just have to see. Probably, just as I said, Xabi Alonso is one that can actually kind of tweak in the system and see what is good for a player, just like what Enzo Maresca did. I'm not saying Enzo Maresca was godlike, but he actually did something like that. Marco Silva, he has like this system of studying the shape. He prefers like a mid to high block, just like as I said, although I wouldn't want a high block because players like Wesley Fofana and Trevor Chalobah, and also maybe Hato is a little bit faster than those guys, but even Tosin and Badiashile, these guys are not that fast enough to come back and then make that defensive standby. So I'm not too sure with the high block, but the mid block is what I really think would be very, very good enough for Chelsea at the moment. It doesn't press manically, but when the trigger is hit, Fulham fly forward vertically, attacking the half spaces. And Silva's team are brave in possession and structurally solid, but I worry if he has like the ambition to push Chelsea back to the Champions League final. That one I just wrote out there because I just kind of felt like maybe because he's at Fulham at the moment, the aim at which he can push Chelsea to the Champions League, that's his next season, because I'm almost kind of certain sure that we might not get the Champions League this season. So to push Chelsea back to the Champions League next season might be a little bit over the board, because we cannot just say there will be a quick change in mentality, just as we were seeing it at Arteta right now. It's always bottling, and it might be the fourth time we'll bottle it in the league. On to the next. This is my final this thing. He seems to be a tactical dark horse, and this is somebody who I think that can actually do something like what someone like Enzo Maresca did. So he's someone that I think that can actually implement something like the style of what Enzo Maresca did, and I'm not saying fully 100% what he did, but in form of like tactical genius, tweaking during games, and in-game management is something that I feel this guy can do. And who am I talking about? But before I tell you guys what I'm talking about, this is the person. So Filipe Luís emerges as leading contender for Chelsea job. This is according to competent they are. They said former Filipe Luís has quickly become the standout name in the race to take over at Chelsea FC, with multiple outlets now identifying him as the top candidate. Reports from CBS Sports and the Daily Mirror list him among key options, while journalist Gianluigi Lungari goes further by naming him the frontrunner. According to UOL Esporte, Luís was recently dismissed by Flamengo after alleged talks with Chelsea ownership group behind the scenes, only added fuel to the speculation about the potential move to Stamford Bridge. If appointed, Luís can play a key role in unlocking the potential of Nicolas Jackson, especially alongside the creativity of Kopama, forming a promising core for Chelsea's rebuild. Now, Filipe Luís, as we all know, is a legend at Chelsea also. Left back, was very good defensively, and all of this. And I know you guys might not have expected that I would have brought in Filipe Luís into the picture. I would have said it at the beginning. But as a former Chelsea left back, made 15 appearances for us in 2014. It was very good. And as a manager, he has been like turning heads in Brazil. He coached at Flamengo, and probably you guys saw the badge there. Yeah, the Flamengo badge. He coached at Flamengo. He coached at the World Cup, and then I loved the way he approached against not just Enzo Maresca, but Vincent Kompany and some other guys at the Club World Cup, and it was absolutely nice because Flamengo was a dark horse in the Club World Cup. And yes, you can say it's the Club World Cup, players are probably already tired, and maybe that's why it was very easy for him to be like a tactical dark horse in those kind of dark matters and stuff like that. But to be frank, it was actually brilliant and it was actually very good. And I liked the way he approached those games. So he transformed like one of South Africa's most tactically sophisticated sides. He favored like a 4-2-3-1 that shifts into a 3-2-5 in attack. Also very same thing, very modern, like Guardiola-esque. Probably that's why I'm shifting towards him. But yes, like the key difference is his defensive organization. His defensive organization is very elite because he also was under Diego Simeone at Atletico Madrid. So understanding that way, and we all know Simeone. Simeone is a beast at all of this defensive approach and low block and around football. But it then boils down to he does not like defensive chaos, which is what actually makes me drive towards him or fly towards him. Defensive chaos, no. You have to be open-mindedly and be very sure about what you are doing defensively. They press in coordinated waves. That is his Flamingo team. They did press in coordinated waves and not just blindly or not just imaginatively, even though you still have to use your brain. But they did not just press blindly. They force opponents into wide areas, then trap them with a compact block. So, well, how does this now help the present squad? Looking at our fullbacks, Malagusto and Rich James and Makukrela, who thrive in systems because Filipe Luís loves attacking overlaps but also drills a defensive cover. He would turn like Caicedo into a proper screening pivot, and for Cole Palmer, he gives his number 10 like total freedom to drift between the lines, just like he did for Arrascaeta at Flamengo. The obvious elephant in the room at this moment is he doesn't yet have like a UEFA Pro license, even though right now our Callum McFarlane, who is our caretaker, who is the interim manager right now, does not have a UEFA Pro license also. But these owners, of course, they will cut through corners, and they've cut through the corners, and then they've made it possible for him to be the one in charge of the squad. But that's just by the way, because there are different ways which a person who does not have a UEFA Pro license can actually coach the first team squad like someone in the Premier League. But it's not supposed to happen. I'm not in full support of something like that, because it just means lack of experience, lack of what is all, when you finish school, you have like all these papers that you have to do and all of these researches, lack of something like that. So, which is a requirement of Premier League management. The club would need to get special dispensation or have him work temporarily under a licensed head coach. That is that, just as I said, you will need to do all of those, work under licensed coach or do something like that. But if Chelsea wants to be brave, according to me, Filipe Luís understands the club, understands Premier League defending, and brings fresh tactical ideas from South America. And then we also have a lot of South American players in our team at the moment. So all of these are just white cards for Filipe Luís. But as it is right now, Callum McFarlane is the one that is going to take over. He's going to manage for the rest of the game, the next 5 games. And I just hope that this Chelsea's hierarchy, or this Chelsea board of directors, by towards late May or maybe mid-May, late May, we should already begin to see signs of them wanting to sign the next head coach, because we cannot afford another person, and we cannot bring another person who is not experienced in high games or high game scenarios and things like that, because we cannot afford another person to come and be learning on the job. We don't want that. Now, let me end with this, that who do I want? I said I was going to have like 2 reasons for, not 2 reasons, 2 people who I want. Now, first of all, the type of owners that we have, what is their plan? That is going to be for the summer, right? That is this summer that is approaching. What is the plan for the owners? What does the owners have in plan for us? What do they want in the new manager? Does Chelsea get Champions League football? There are other clubs also that would want a Premier League, that would also want managers. Clubs like Real Madrid, clubs like maybe Liverpool. We can see clubs like maybe Bournemouth, but I think Bournemouth has already signed a new one already. But a lot of clubs like that. Also, I think maybe Man City, that's if Pep Guardiola leaves. But all those type of clubs would see that they also are looking for a manager. The scarcity of quality managers, I'm not saying they lack quality, but I'm saying the scarcity of high experience managers like the Peps, like the Luis Enrique, like the Jose Mourinho, and all those type of players. And what type of manager is needed? This also depends on the owner. What type of manager do they want? Do they want another man that is a yes man? Of course, they will surely want someone like that, even though they will say they want to tweak the system, but they will still surely want someone like all of those guys that would want to say yes to them and stuff like that. But to me, if Chelsea does not get Champions League, and if they still want someone that would relate to them on a normal or quite nice basis, I think the right man should actually be Filipe Luís, because he's probably going to have, like, if Chelsea does not get Champions League season, that's what I'm saying. If Chelsea does not get Champions League, then he's going to probably build with the squad, understand them, and trying to build a form of hierarchy together with the squad and see what are you guys made about. But if Chelsea gets Champions League football, if the owners are looking for someone who is experienced in the Premier League, who understands Premier League clubs, who also have a UEFA Pro license, yes. If they also want a manager who is ready to come and help them to make this their stupid and their so-called rubbish, what do you call it, stuff work, the next person is Andoni Iraola for me. Andoni Iraola. Because that is the only way I can see Chelsea pushing on and then trying to say they want to build a nice squad, because Andoni Iraola will come in and then tell them, okay, this is what we need, this is what you can do, this is what I need. So let's find a good basis together and then let's make it work. I'm leaning towards the intensity of Andoni Iraola, and then I think he's also a tactical philosopher. Yeah, so that's it from me in this video. Let me hear from you guys. What do you guys want? Make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and like guys, please, and comment. Just tell me, you guys, down there. Among all of these guys I've mentioned, Andoni Iraola, Cesc Fàbregas, Filipe Luís, Marco Silva, and other managers that are out there on the internet. Tell me, guys, in the comment section, who do you guys want to be the next Chelsea manager? And I'll see you guys in the next one. Up to Chelsea.